Imagine working hard your whole life, saving for your family, building a legacy, only for your children to end up with nothing. It happens more often than you might think, and it's all down to something called sideways disinheritance. Hi folks, and welcome back to Everything Estate Planning, where we aim to make the process of estate planning more straightforward and accessible, helping you to protect what matters most. I'm Jim from ELM Legal Services, and today I'm going to tell you how you can avoid one of the biggest hidden risks to your family's inheritance: sideways disinheritance. So without delay, let's get started. Let's begin by explaining what sideways disinheritance actually means. It's when, after your passing, the assets you intended to go down to your children, things like your home, savings or possessions, end up going to someone else. Most often that someone else is actually a new partner or their family. The term sideways is used because your estate doesn't follow the straight line down to your kids. Instead, it moves sideways into a new relationship or family, often without you ever intending it to do so. And here's the sad part. This isn't usually caused by anyone being unkind or dishonest. It just happens through everyday events. A surviving spouse remarrying, making a new will, or dying without one. And life moves on, and without the right legal protections in place, so do your assets. It's especially common in blended families where children from earlier relationships can be unintentionally left out. Not by malice, but simply because the law doesn't automatically protect them unless you make a clear plan. So while sideways disinheritance might sound like a technical term, the consequences are deeply personal. Children lose out on the legacy you've worked hard to leave them, and your wishes go unfulfilled, not because you didn't care, but because the structure wasn't there to carry them through. That's why proper planning is so important. It's not just about writing a will, it's about writing the right kind of will for your family. Let's walk through a story we see all too often, one that sadly leads to children being unintentionally cut out of their inheritance. It started off the way most people plan. Ellie and Steve were married for 30 years and had 2 children. Like many couples, they made mirror wills. Everything to each other first and then to the children once both of them were gone. It was a solid, sensible plan. They just wanted to look after each other and make sure the kids were taken care of in the end. Then Steve passed away. When Steve died, everything, the house, the savings, their personal belongings, passed along to Ellie, just as they had intended. So far, everything was going according to the plans that they put in place. Ellie found love again. A few years later, Ellie met John. They got on well, built a relationship, and eventually got married. And this is where things quietly changed, because under UK law, getting married cancels any existing will unless that will was made with the new marriage in mind. So when Ellie married John, the will she'd made with Steve, the one that left everything to the kids, was no longer valid. Ellie didn't make a new will. Life got busy, and Ellie never got around to writing a new will. So when she passed, she died intestate, which means she went without a valid will. That meant the law stepped in and decided who would inherit her estate. Everything went to her new husband. Because Ellie and John were married and she had no will, John inherited everything, including all the money, property and assets Ellie had received from Steve. Ellie and Steve's children, who were always meant to inherit, were left with nothing. And then John passed away too. John also didn't have a will. So when he died, the law once again followed the rules of intestacy, and everything he owned went to his biological children from a previous marriage. And here's the heartbreaking part. Ellie and Steve's kids, the ones they'd actually raised and built a life for, were completely left out. Not because anyone was trying to be unfair, but because of a remarriage, a cancelled will, and no updated plan. This happens more easily than most people realise. When you leave everything to your spouse, they legally become the sole owner of the estate. Now that's fine at first, but it means that your children's inheritance depends entirely on what the spouse does next. In Ellie's case, her new husband John didn't make a will. So when he died, everything he owned, including Ellie and Steve's legacy, was distributed according to intestacy. And those rules say that only blood relatives inherit. And that's why John's biological children from a previous marriage received everything. And Ellie and Steve's children were left with nothing. No one acted maliciously. But because the right legal protections weren't in place, the law took over, and the result was devastating for the family left behind. So how can you stop this from happening? The good news is you can protect your family from sideways disinheritance, and it's actually not complicated and doesn't require extreme measures. In fact, it's a simple legal step that fits neatly into your last will and testament. It involves using a type of trust that's built into your will, known as a testamentary trust. Here's how it works. Instead of leaving everything outright to your spouse when you pass away, you place your share of the home or other assets into this trust. Your spouse can still live in the house, benefit from it, and even move if needed. Day to day, nothing really changes for them. But here's the key difference. Your share is protected. When your spouse eventually passes away, your share doesn't form part of their estate. It goes directly to the people you've chosen, like your kids. So even if your spouse remarries, changes their will, or dies without one, your share won't be diverted elsewhere. It can't accidentally end up in someone else's family. Now this type of planning gives you the best of both worlds. Your spouse is looked after and your kids' inheritance is locked in and secure. It's a very simple legal step that can make all the difference in the long run. Sideways disinheritance is more common than many people realise, and as modern families become more complex with remarriages, blended households and stepchildren, the risk is only increasing. As we move away from the traditional nuclear family, it's more important than ever to put the right protections in place. The good news is, with the right guidance and some forward planning, sideways disinheritance is completely avoidable. At ELM Legal Services, we support families across England and Wales by putting tailored legal safeguards in place. Whether you're updating an existing will or creating one for the very first time, there's no better time to get started. Our goal is to make estate planning simple and reassuring so you can move forward with confidence. If you're unsure where to start, get in contact and book a free consultation with us today. We'll guide you through the process and help craft a plan that reflects your wishes and protects your loved ones. Thanks for being here with us today. If you've got any questions or suggestions, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. We value your input and it helps us create even better content for more people. If this video was helpful, please give that like button a friendly handshake, subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you are the very first to know when a new video goes live. Remember, a little planning today can make a big difference tomorrow. So until the next time then, stay safe, stay informed and stay tuned.